Diana Hummel from RYOT Studio. RYOT Studio is Verizon Media's in-house creative studio, and we combine Verizon's unmatched distribution with purposeful storytelling. And our goal is to make sure that not only our stories are well told, but that they're also well heard. Today we are lucky enough to have Karen Belt here from TIAA, Catherine Augustin from Universal McCann. Catherine and Karen, would you like to introduce yourselves and share, since we're at a film festival, what your favorite recent films are?
Sure, I'm Karen Belt from TIAA. I lead all the media brand planning and buying, and I'm going to go out on a limb. I know we're at a serious film festival, but I loved Wreck-It Ralph, the second one. A lot of fun, talks about media companies, Google. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Hi everybody, my name is Catherine Augustin. I'm a creative director with Studios, which is a part of Universal McCann. I think my favorite movie from this year was Sorry to Bother You. Did anybody see that? Yes. Yeah. How great was that? It was really compelling. It was a story I'd never seen before, told in a way I'd never seen before. I'm really surprised it hasn't gotten any Oscars love. But if you haven't seen it, go see it and tell me what you think.
Favorite film for me recently, I saw He Won't Get Very Far on Foot. It has Joaquin Phoenix and Jonah Hill. It's pretty funny. Tells a story about a guy who's an alcoholic who gets into a car crash and goes on to become a famous cartoonist. Highly recommend it. So let's get into the topic today. We're going to start out by showing you a quick clip of what the Difference Maker 100 program was, and then we're going to get into the questions. Feeling the jams right there. So Karen, how about you tell us about the goal of the Difference Maker 100, how it came to be, and what the mission was?
Yeah, so TIAA, we're a Fortune 100 financial services company, and we basically serve people who are in the nonprofit space. And it was a very special year for us. We were turning 100, and we decided we wanted to do something different. A lot of times, turning 100, it's like an employee internal rally cry, and we wanted to celebrate people who were out there doing a difference and people who were in the non-for-profit space. And we came up with this idea of trying to recognize 100 people out there and give away $1 million. So each one of those 100 people would get a $10,000 grant. And we wanted to celebrate them. And we knew we couldn't do that by ourselves through our own properties, so we partnered with these guys to try to get the word out there and really try to work the program. And that's why we came together as a group.
So Catherine, with this very tall order of celebrating a 100-year anniversary, 100-year birthday, tell us about how you set up the brief and how did you go about selecting a partner, what you were looking for?
Yeah, so our communications objective was actually quite simple. It was to kind of position TIAA as the champion for difference makers, and those are people that are doing really great things in their community and for their community. Our criteria was also kind of simple, but really, really specific. We wanted a partner that had the reach, the targeting, and the distribution and the scale within our target audience of nonprofit employees. But more than that, we wanted to make sure that we were telling the right story. We wanted a partner that had credibility in the space and also had the storytelling chops to do so. Just to echo what Karen said, 100 years is a big anniversary, and so we wanted to go really big with it. So taking into consideration all these criteria, I think we RFP'd about 20 partners. Verizon Media and RYOT Studio very quickly kind of rose to the top, both for they kind of checked all the boxes for our criteria, also bringing some of that audience targeting and capabilities and the ability to kind of pivot messaging if necessary. This was a year-long program, and we had a lot of learnings along the way, and we wanted to be able to kind of apply those learnings as we went. And then finally, RYOT Studios really brought the creativity and the creative chops to what we were doing. They had great filmmaking capabilities, and so we were really excited to partner with them. And I think it's really kind of a unique thing for a brand and a partner and a content studio like Studios to kind of come together in that we bring kind of more of a strategic and creative point of view to all of this to kind of help elevate the storytelling. So I like to think that we're able to bring a brand and a publisher together with us, and really amazing things can happen when that happens.
Yeah, I have to say, of course, we felt honored to be selected to be the partner here, but our creative team went nuts when they read this brief because they felt that what you guys were looking to accomplish resonated so well with our HuffPost audience, and it just felt like a perfect fit from day one. So with this, burning question on everybody's mind, how do you measure results? How do you know that this program's successful? Can you speak to what the KPIs were, how they evolved, what metrics you were looking at?
Yeah, and I know today we saw a lot of different metrics and looking at things, and I think that's the hardest part. When it comes to these kinds of partnerships, how are you going to measure the KPIs? And everything is so specialized as you do these things. And I was saying to someone, it's like recreating the wheel almost every time because each partnership is so different. And what we did was we did the traditional brand awareness, and we made sure we brought in a third party like Millward Brown to track that along the way. We looked at the traditional other things like click-throughs and all of that. But we really broke it down into 3 phases because, as Catherine said, it was a year-long program, and we needed to keep track of it along the way. So really in the beginning stage was making sure, are we getting the nominations? A first knock on wood, oh my gosh, is this gonna work? And by having a group like Verizon there, we were able to look at dashboards on a weekly basis and then change up the media as need be to make sure that those nominations were coming in, and we were tracking that along the way.
So that was, yes, it's working.
It is working. And then, as far as brand awareness goes, we hit the mark on that. We've had an 18-point lift and a 12-point lift on favorability. So that was fantastic for us.
Amazing.
Yeah, I would say to see the actual stories of the people who were awarded the grant, also the number of nominations that came in, and then to also see that we've impacted the brand metrics that we set out to influence, felt really good, and we live to tell the tale as a result. So, we know that TIAA is a purpose-driven brand. It's more important than ever, especially for millennials, to align with brands that align with their personal values, and trust in content is especially important. So, Catherine, can you speak to how you embodied that, how trust and trusted content weighed into this program?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly important. And I think it's been important throughout the entire history of advertising and marketing, the ability to use storytelling to connect a brand with its audience. I think that when you add the layer of everyone's favorite audience, the millennial audience, that becomes even more important. Just thinking about this is an incredibly digitally native, socially native, really, really savvy audience that can call bullshit on anything that's just not real or false. And so I think there's a statistic that 75% of consumers believe that brands should be held accountable for the content that their ads surround, which is a really interesting kind of statistic. When you add on to that our audience, our specific audience, the nonprofit employee audience, this is a group of people that are living and really working the values that they believe in and feel incredibly connected and passionate to the work that they're doing. And so that's where trust becomes absolutely incredibly important.
Yeah, and I think the authenticity of the stories came through too. There was such a diverse group of stories, and that's the other reason why we went out with 100 of these. So it was everything from the Harlem lacrosse team to somebody curing cancer with dogs. You know, it's such a wide array, and that's why we wanted that mosaic of authenticity and people really seeing these stories and having them rise to the top.
So we chose Layla Ali as the brand ambassador for this program. Can you speak to how she lent credibility and authenticity to this and the process by which you chose her?
Yeah. So we evaluated a lot of different influencers as possible brand ambassadors for this particular program. We wanted to find someone that, again, really sort of embodied the values that TIAA embodies. The notion that, you know, we are here to help those who do good do well. And so we very quickly kind of arrived at Layla Ali. If you guys don't know Layla Ali, she's sort of famously the daughter of Muhammad Ali. She was a boxer in her own right, a professional boxer. She speaks incredibly eloquently about the parallels between being a boxer and kind of being able to get yourself off the mat when the chips are down, and the work that the nonprofit sector really does. She's active in the health and wellness space, she's active in her community, and she was just a really great fit for the program. So we were able to sort of harness her voice and her story throughout the program. We also got her to do some small social videos to sort of help get the word out about how to be a difference maker in your own life. So little calls to action that we were able to share and sort of spread the word about difference making program.
So at its core, this program created a really unique narrative that allowed us to share the stories of many, many different people and the difference that they were making in their communities. Karen, can you talk a little bit about how those stories extend beyond advertising and the life that these stories have beyond this explicit program?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think yesterday people touched upon it too, where internally it was a complete collaborative effort. So, you know, making sure that the PR team was engaged. We had our employee engagement team engaged, and it became a rally cry all the way through the company. And you know, with PR, we had over 300 million earned impressions. And then we also had this huge employee engagement where we were being difference makers too. And we went out and we did 20,000 hours of community service within all our employees and really working it that way. So it was really important to us. And then, you know, one of the things we didn't foresee was the ripple effect of this. And all of a sudden, these charities who were only on the local level were now posted on the Huffington Post. So now they had a national platform. And by having that national platform, not only did they get a $10,000 grant, but now they were also getting other donations sent to them. So they were able to then take that information, put it out on their social handles. We created special content for them. So they had beautifully shot, you know, put together videos, and those videos were then used by those charities. So it was really amazing how it really panned out across everything, and by us kind of all holding hands together and working on it, it really made that program so much bigger.
And just to build on that a little bit, I think one of the joys of doing the Difference Makers program is seeing the power of the storytelling that we were able to harness and see it sort of spread nationally on a national level, thanks to the platform that we were given and we worked with. I'm reminded of a particular story, Nicole Russell, who started a nonprofit called Precious Dreams. She had a foster sister that had a very abusive past and was having a lot of trouble sleeping at night. I think she was like 6 years old or something. And so she started this nonprofit to help get things like teddy bears, stress balls, access to yoga, access to meditation to these kids that were having a tremendous amount of trouble sleeping at night. It was a really compelling story and one that really touched us, and we were so excited that she became an honoree for the Difference Makers. Thanks to the platform, some other people in Chicago saw this and said, wow, I'm seeing that same problem in my community. How can I start my own chapter of Precious Dreams? And so it's just wonderful to see the storytelling that we were able to do together kind of make something bigger than what we are. And that's really, I think, the power in what we were able to accomplish.
So last question, you know, knowing that the 100-year anniversary is over, Karen, how do you continue to build on this brand momentum and extend the life of these stories?
Well, most people don't really celebrate their 101st, woohoo! But so we're not going to be doing a big of a splash this year, but we will continue with mining these stories. We've got over 4,000 stories that, you know, you're talking about some of those where it's just unbelievable what certain people are doing in their communities, and how can we feature them and, you know, continue to talk about these people and celebrate them. So we won't be giving away $1 million, but there are other things that we can probably elevate some of those difference makers and, you know, have their charity be seen on a national level. So
amazing. Well, thank you for joining us today,
Thank you.
and congratulations on pulling off something that is so true to the core of what TIAA does.
yeah, well, thank you guys for your help.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.